Hi everyone, I'm Lewis and welcome to another video on Lewis's Football Mind. Today I'm going to be reacting to Premier League Matchday 1 results. So let's get started with Championship champions Burnley hosting the Premier League champions and treble winners Manchester City on Friday Night Football. What a way to start the Premier League, but Manchester City came out on top 3-0 winners with Erling Haaland scoring twice and Rodri scoring the third. So the big talking points about this game was Burnley back in the Prem, how would they do under Vincent Company? Honestly, I thought there was a lot of good positives about the game for Burnley, but City in the end just came out on top. But in the end, it wasn't the best way for Burnley to start the Premier League season. But you're facing arguably the best team in the world. But the next talking point is Erling Haaland. What a player he is. Scored two again on the opening day, just like he did last season against West Ham. So yeah, it's going to be another great year for him, hopefully for Manchester City, but the Premier League should be scared. And then finally, Kevin De Bruyne has a long injury. Came off in the first half injured, and then just found out per multiple reports that he is going to be injured until at least 2024. So hopefully he can have a speedy recovery. But Manchester City, a big blow for them. So the stats were possession, Burnley only had 34% of possession, Manchester City had 66. Burnley had 6 shots compared to 17 for Manchester City. Burnley had only 1 shot on target across the game, and Manchester City had 8. Shots off target were 3 for Burnley and 4 for Manchester City. So honestly, I thought Burnley weren't the best. I think there is a lot of positives and negatives from the game, but I think Burnley will be okay this season. I think they've got a good enough squad to stay in the league and push for mid-table. But Manchester City should be the favourites to win 4 Premier League titles in a row, which has never ever been done in English football ever. So it will be another record breaker for Manchester City if they can do this. But the Premier League should be scared. But Vincent Company, you'll have a lot to talk about to his Burnley players, but also you'll be taking a lot out of the game. So red card Anas Zaruri for Burnley in 94th minute. I thought it was a terrible tackle. Just went up, snapped Kyle Walker across his calf, and it was a clear red card. Obviously, it was only awarded a yellow card at first, but video assistant referee had a look at it, and then the referee changed it from yellow to red, which was the right decision in my opinion. But yeah, Manchester City look good, and then they've got a tough game next time out against Newcastle, so that'll be tough for them. But Manchester City 3, Burnley 0. So next game was Saturday 12:30. There was a half an hour delay to this game between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest due to cause of ticketing system. So the new digital ticketing system did not work well. So there was over half of Arsenal fans out of the stadium, waiting to get in, and they just about got in for 1 o'clock. So the game went on at 1 o'clock. So the talking points about this game was Julian Timber's injury. Just signed £38 million from Ajax and already injured, which is horrible, especially for a new signing. So we wish him again a speedy recovery. But this is a big blow for Arsenal. It might help players like Kieran Tierney get into the team. I'm not sure. Gabriel didn't start, but he might be a guaranteed starter again after this injury. But it is a big blow for them. Nottingham Forest didn't really have much in the game until Anthony Elanga and Awani came on for Nottingham Forest, and they really created an impact straight away. Scored a few minutes after they came on. Awani scored after Elanga wrapped it down the wing, played it across into the box, and Awani scored. So honestly, I think Nottingham Forest can take a lot of positives from this game, but Arsenal, there will be a worry about the Julian Timber injury and that they couldn't wrap up the game earlier on in the game. So possession was 78% for Arsenal, 22% for Nottingham Forest, 15 shots to 6, 7 shots on target for Arsenal, 2 on target for Nottingham Forest, and shots off target were both 3. So goal scorers were Bukayo Saka and Nketiah, and for Nottingham Forest, Awani. So yeah, Nketiah, especially with Jesus injured at the minute, could have a big role in Arsenal's season, and he could force Jesus out of the team when he returns if Nketiah keeps his goal scoring up. So yeah, a lot of positives for Arsenal, especially Bukayo Saka scoring, Martinelli starring yet again. So Arsenal do look good for this season. They are definitely title contenders in my opinion. Declan Rice made his debut, very impressive, looked very calm on the ball, and he just fitted into that Arsenal team very well. Kai Havertz also had a good game in his new role with Arteta. So next we'll go on to the 3 o'clock kickoff. So Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1. Probably a fair result. Solanke scored for Bournemouth at 87th minute, Bowen in the 51st. But the talking point of this game was how would Bournemouth's new manager, Andoni Iraola, do. So he's 41 years old. His old club was Rio Vallecano. He was there from 2020 to 2023. In 2021, he achieved the playoffs and promotion with Vallecano, and he got approached by Leeds by February, but the club would not let him leave. So I think it's a good result for Bournemouth, a very fair result. West Ham have made some good signings throughout the summer, including Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse. So I think West Ham will be okay this season, but I don't think they'll do anything to surprise us, really, like magic. So 1-1 at the Vitality Stadium. Next up is Brighton versus Luton. Brighton 4, Luton 1. March, Pedro, Andra and Ferguson scored for Brighton, and Morris in the 81st minute penalty. So yeah, Luton's return back to the Premier League. How would Rob Edwards do? This is not a good place to go on the opening day, in my opinion. Brighton are one of the most solid teams in Premier League, play one of the best football. So, and Roberto De Zerbi is a very, very good manager who I can see going to a top club eventually. But Luton, of course, they'll take some positives out of this game. Obviously, scoring in the Premier League for the first time, that is unbelievable for Luton, especially where they were 10 years ago, all the way in the Vanarama National League. So Luton will be happy to score, but they can take some positives. So obviously, next week they're not playing because Kenilworth Road is on refurbishment at the minute, so they have some time to rest. So Luton, there's a lot to talk about. They have signed a lot of EFL players, but I think Luton could do it. I have a good feeling about Rob Edwards, who was a Forest Green, won League Two with Forest Green. I think Luton could just stay up around that 16th, 17th position. So hopefully for them they do stay up and the fairy tale continues. But honestly, Brighton brilliantly. Simon Adingra, 21 years old, last season Union Saint-Gilloise, 20 goals and assists in 36 appearances. So another gem that Chelsea will probably be going after in a few years for 60 to 100 million pounds. But yet again, Brighton finding gems yet again. So yeah, Brighton 4, Luton 1 at the Amex Stadium. Next up is Everton 0, Fulham 1. As a Liverpool fan, I love seeing Everton lose, but Everton actually played really, really well. But something I don't like to see is the abuse that Neil Maupay received during the game. So on social media, I posted after the game a picture of a comment of somebody wanting his mother to die, pretty much, which is absolutely disgusting. No player whatsoever deserves this, and we have to stop this. They need to be banned immediately from any social media and make sure they're not allowed at a football game for a very, very long time. So the only goal in the game was for Fulham in the 73rd minute for Reed. Everton were dominant, but Fulham just nicked it just about. So they'll be happy with this Fulham. But Everton, I think they will be okay, but I think they will be in there again. So next up is Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 1. And I want to go straight into Roy Hodgson versus Max Lau. Roy Hodgson, in his 70s now, he's still fighting, and you have to respect that. You know, he's still a Premier League manager, he's still fighting. You have to respect that. And Crystal Palace came out on top with Edward Gould just after half time. So I think Palace this season will struggle, but I think Roy Hodgson is up to the job. It probably will be his last year before he retires, but I think Crystal Palace did well to win. Sheffield United, I think they will really struggle this season under Paul Heckingbottom, but not just because of him. I think he's a good manager, but the team they've lost a lot of key players and they've got financial issues off the pitch. So hopefully Sheffield United can stay up this season, but it will be a hard season for them. So next up, on to the 5:30 kickoff, which a lot of my friends will be saying Tonali, Isak, Newcastle masterclass, and sadly I have to say it was a masterclass. I thought it was brilliant by Newcastle. Tonali scored on his debut, and then Diaby also scored for Aston Villa on his debut. Isak scored a brace, Wilson scored, and Harvey Barnes on his Newcastle debut. Moussa Diaby scored for Aston Villa on his debut, so the debutants did very, very well scoring. I think Aston Villa, they were all over the place. I thought the high line was awful. I thought Mings coming off injured really affected them, and it could affect them for the season, I think. But yeah, it's not nice. Hopefully, Tyrone Mings can have a speedy recovery, but Aston Villa could struggle this season, especially with that injury. But I want to talk about Newcastle more. Obviously, they have a Champions League this year. I think they will be up there in the top four. Who knows? They might do title challenge. Maybe not yet, but I think they've definitely got the manager to do it, the players to do it. But it just depends how the Champions League games on top of the Premier League games will affect them. So Newcastle 5, Aston Villa 1. Newcastle had 17 shots, Villa 16. Possession was 53-47, but honestly I think Newcastle were dominant all game, constantly at Villa. After Diaby scored, after Isak got his first goal, made it 2-1. Newcastle were unbelievable and they could not be stopped. So Newcastle 5, Aston Villa 1 at St James's Park. Next up is on Sunday, the 2 o'clock kickoff on Sky Sport was Brentford versus Spurs. Obviously the big talking point yet again, no Harry Kane. Obviously completely moved to Bayern Munich, started in the Super Cup against Leipzig and they lost 3-0. Wasn't his fault. Thomas Tuchel said after the game it looked like Bayern hadn't trained for 4 weeks. So it wasn't Harry Kane's fault at all. Just couldn't make impact when he came on, just didn't get any chances at all, which wasn't his fault. But complete the move on Friday, started on Saturday. So yeah. But anyway, Tottenham and Postecoglou, he has got a very, very hard game, and I think will Tottenham do well this season? Daniel Levy will want them top 4. They won't get top 4 in my opinion. I think they will be lucky to get around 9th, 8th. But honestly, Ange Postecoglou, I think is the right man to take Tottenham up the table eventually. I think after first game 2-2, I think it's a good start against a really hard Brentford team. So yeah, really good. So next game was Brentford 2, Spurs 2 on Sunday at 2 o'clock, live on Sky Sports it was. And the big talking point about this game was obviously no Harry Kane, who completely moved to Bayern Munich for £100 million. Started in their Super Cup game against Leipzig on Saturday, and Leipzig won 3-0. But Kane came on around 60th minutes, couldn't make impact, didn't get the ball much. I probably didn't understand a thing the referee or any of his teammates were saying, so it wasn't really his fault. But anyway, back to Spurs. Ange Postecoglou's first game, I think it's a decent start against a very, very good Brentford team who did really, really well last season under Thomas Frank. So I think they will be happy, Spurs. It's a good start, but I think they will struggle this season. But yeah, I think you have to give Ange Postecoglou time. Daniel Levy just can't expect him to get them like top 4, top 5 straight away. He has to have a few years, few good transfer windows, and then Spurs can start building up. But if I was a Spurs fan, I'd be very, very excited for this manager. He's won trophies everywhere he's went, and I think it's a really, really good appointment. But you have to give him time, a good few years at least. Look at Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool. 2015 he took over. 4 years later, 2019 Champions League winners. So you have to give him time. So yeah, Spurs, Romeo scored and Emerson Royale scored, so 2 defenders scoring, and then Brentford and Bebu 26 minutes penalty, and we signed the 36th minute. So Brentford yet again getting results against the top teams. I think there will be a threat this season, especially at the GTEC Community Stadium. I think they're one of the strongest teams at home in the league against the Big Six, supposedly. So I think Brentford will be okay this season. I think they can push for the top half again. And who knows, they might surprise people yet again. So another talking point was James Maddison completely moved from Leicester City for around £40 million and got 2 assists in 45 minutes. So I think he did very, very well. And I think he's got a very good season ahead of him. So yeah, Brentford 2, Spurs 2 at the GTEC Community Stadium. So the next one is the Super Sunday at 4:30 between Chelsea and Liverpool. As a Liverpool fan, I will take this result because quite frankly, we were awful. You know, I thought Diaz scoring, I thought it was brilliant goal, brilliant pass by Salah, and Diaz really good finish. And then it was nearly 2-0, just offside from Mo Salah, who nearly scored yet again on the opening day. But no, Dizazi scored for Chelsea on his debut, then Ben Chilwell had a goal to slough offside 2 minutes later. So yeah, I thought it was a fair result, but I think if somebody deserved to win, I thought Chelsea. I thought they were dominant throughout the second half and most of the game after the 30th minute. But Liverpool, we looked really, really bad defensively. One can tell we're missing that number 6. Obviously, we've missed out on Moses Caicedo and Lavia to Chelsea, which is very, very disappointing and frustrating. Obviously, £111 million we put in, Brighton accepted, and we thought, yeah, we're getting him. We're getting a number 6. FSG is actually going to get a signing, and then no, he picks Chelsea. Chelsea put a bid in a few days later, 150 million, accepted, miracle, done. Obviously, I'm happy he didn't play, but yeah, it's really, really disappointing for Liverpool's perspective not to get this signing sorted. But and then Lavia, who looked like he was joining Liverpool all summer, Liverpool got 3 bids rejected, and then no, he's joining Chelsea. They put a £58 million bid in, accepted. We put a 61 in, which was also accepted, but Lavia chose Chelsea, which is the story of last summer so far. Obviously, Mike Allied was leaving last summer. It's been quite a mess since our new sporting director's come in, and there is really, really big questions we ask at Liverpool Football Club, especially in the big hierarchy, because Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers in the world, best managers in the last decade. You have to back him. Quite frankly, you have to back Jurgen Klopp. If you don't back Jurgen Klopp, then you won't get the end product, which is Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cups, this season Europa Leagues. But yeah, you have to back them. Obviously, Chelsea looked very, very good. I thought Enzo Fernandez was the best player on the pitch, ran the show for Chelsea, looked very, very good midfield. But yeah, Chelsea will be strong this season, especially with Levy and Caicedo. I don't think they'll be in a title challenge yet, but spending £9 billion, you expect them to do something special this season. So the talking points I picked out this game was no opening day goal for Mo Salah. First time in his Liverpool career, he did not score on the opening day, and his reaction coming off was, I didn't like it. I thought you have to be a bit more professional than that. I do get his anger, but Mo Salah has so many records. He's one of the best players in the Premier League the last 5 years, and he's got so many good records, such a good reputation. But this record, he scored last few seasons every game on the opening day, so I don't think he should get too disappointed, too angry about that. But yeah, the next one was no number 6 for Liverpool. You could tell both teams were without a number 6. Con Gallagher played there, Alexis McAllister played there for us, and you can tell both teams needed number 6. So Chelsea got 2 now. Liverpool still don't have any, and I don't have a clue who we're going in for. I think Joao Paulinho would be good. I think he's injured at the minute. 28 years old. I think Fulham won around 70 million, but I think he'll be a really good option for Liverpool. Obviously, there is other options we can do. Ryan Gravenberch might join, but we'll just have to wait and see the next few weeks. But I definitely think we need at least a number 6 and a defender. So yeah, 2 goals ruled out, 1 for Chelsea, 1 for Liverpool. Right decision, both. And yeah, Chelsea won, Liverpool won. Good result, but worrying times for Liverpool fans at the minute, including myself. So 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. And finally, we move on to the last game between Manchester United and Wolves. 1-0, Rafael Varane. I just want to say, how did Wolves not win this game? How? I just don't know. They had 23 shots at Old Trafford. That's just crazy without scoring. Manchester United 15. Possession was even, just about even, sorry. 51-49. And big talking points were Wolves were dominant all game. Cunha up front looked really dangerous but missed a massive, massive opportunity and should have scored. And that could cost Wolves this season. Gary O'Neill's a brilliant manager, did brilliant at Bournemouth last year, should have got nominated. Or he probably should have got manager of the season last year, in my opinion. But they just can't score. And that could be big for Wolves. And I think Wolves will be in big, big trouble this year if they don't start scoring goals. I thought they were brilliant the rest of the pitch. I thought defensively they were good, midfield they were good, but the attack, they looked so dangerous but just couldn't score. And then the late penalty shout, which was, I'm not going to say what I think it was, but the officials who made those decisions are not in next week's Premier League fixtures after a review is taking place. But Guy O'Neill got told after the game. It should be in a penalty, but what does that matter? That could cost Wolves massive this season. So Guy O'Neill will be disappointed. And he got a yellow card, which I think is ridiculous, especially in the high motion, really late on. Fans screaming. It's a ridiculous decision. But yeah, Wolves will be so disappointed. But Manchester United, another clean sheet. They've made an Old Trafford a fortress under Eric Ten Hag. I think Manchester United, you could tell they were missing a striker. Obviously, Rasmus Højlund was injured. He's injured site at the minute, but he has to hit the ground running, in my opinion, because they did miss a number 9 up there. Marcus Rashford, obviously a very, very good player, can score goals, but I think he's better used on the wing. So Manchester United, you need to get Højlund fit as soon as possible. But yeah, they got the win, so they will be happy about that, but it was a let off for Manchester United. So Manchester United won, Wolves nil. So they are the 10 Premier League fixtures for this week. My next video will be my Matchday 2 predictions. So some big games in here, including West Ham versus Chelsea, Manchester City versus Newcastle, and Liverpool are home against Bournemouth. The Anfield Road stand is not finished yet, but we are still our host Premier League game at home. So that stand will be finished around October. So yeah, so many brilliant games to look forward to. So my next video will be my predictions. So I'd like to thank you very, very much for watching. I hope to see you next time.